BT's Body and Balance is sponsored by Canada Diagnostic Centres, offering MRI, X-ray, and ultrasound services in Calgary and Okotoks.
It's the time of year when relatives want to meet the new baby, but if any of those adults are sick, you need to say no. Health specialist Leo Sarich now with why sniffly adults must not be holding a new baby, even if those adults are only in town for the holidays. You got to be firm, you got to be tough, you got to say no.
And it can be hard, absolutely.
No,
but you need to stay away from
I know you're
the baby.
here from Toronto.
That's right.
But you cannot handle the baby.
So the reason is it's not only the holiday season, but it's also RSV season. So what is RSV? It stands for respiratory syncytial virus, and it is a very common virus. It's one of the most commonest viruses in the world. So in adults, it just produces a sniffly little cold, not a big deal. But in tiny babies, in infants, so we're talking infants 6 months of age and younger, it can cause very serious respiratory illness. So it's very serious, and I asked Dr. Mitchell how it starts.
A little runny nose, and then around about the second or third day they might develop a cough which might go on for a week or two. In an infant, a stuffy nose will make feeding difficult, so they might need small frequent feeds, and most of the time that will lead to recovery. A small number of babies, the cough will go on to much more difficulty breathing. You'll see the breathing rate increase. If the baby's shirt off, you'll see the ribs are tucking in as the baby works hard, and those babies need seen by a physician or need to be seen in emergency.
And that's emergency room. So let's look at these statistics. Dr. Mitchell says 200 to 400 infants each season will be admitted to hospital right here in Calgary. 200
to 400?
200
little
to 400
tiny babies.
Little tiny babies each season. So that is a lot of little babies.
No kidding.
And once these babies are at the hospital, the oxygen levels are going to be measured. That's a very good indication of how severe the illness is. And about 10% of those babies that are admitted are going to actually be in the intensive care unit.
Wow.
So this is incredibly serious. So of those babies, then it goes on from there. So then the babies that get treatment and then they recover, half of those babies are going to go on to have very serious respiratory illness every time they get a cold after this one.
All because of that one infection?
All because of that one infection. And then even some of those babies will go on to develop asthma.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is incredibly serious. So what we really want to do is prevent babies from contracting this virus in the first place when they're the most vulnerable. So that's 6 months of age and younger. So if Auntie Barb's in town visiting for the holidays and she's got just a little sniffle but feels fine, not even hand washing is going to be good enough here. You just have to say no.
Our immunity is very poor to this virus, so that's point one. So we get it throughout lifetime. But it really only causes severe disease to infants or to older children or grown-ups who have other chronic lung diseases. Otherwise, it looks like a little cold. So the grown-up, the visitor, the grandmother, the aunt, may be a little sick. They may not feel really sick, but they may have this virus, which can make the baby really sick.
So that's the bottom line, right? This can make baby really sick. So Dr. Mitchell says so far only a handful of children in Calgary have been admitted to hospital so far with RSV. But he says, you know, it's hard to predict what the season's going to look like because we're just in the early stages of it. And he says if you look at worldwide cycles of RSV infection, we could be in for a bad one this year or next year. Yeah.
Okay.
So no way to predict that accurately, but that's what it looks like.
How about a vaccine?
Right, so wouldn't it be nice to have a vaccine to prevent this infection? Sadly, as Dr. Mitchell mentioned, we develop poor immunity to this. So it's this happens every month or two. We're going to get this over and over and over again. But they are working on one still. But however, it's not going to look like a regular vaccine that would be in the immunization program, because what it would do, because of this poor immunity that we develop, it would be something like you would give the vaccine to the toddler in the family who's in daycare, who's going to get the virus inevitably, and prevent them from giving it to the young baby at home.
Brother or sister,
Exactly. So it would look like that. Or they would give the pregnant mom, the vaccine, and then she would pass on some of that immunity to the baby.
I see.
If she's going to deliver, say, in the fall or at around Christmas. So that's the kind of what they're looking at in terms of a vaccine. And they're working on it now, so we can maybe look forward to that in the future.
There you go. This is obviously great information. It's going to be on your blog.
It'll be on my blog, you bet.
breakfasttelevision.ca. There you go. Thank you, Leah.